Space with you about both some of the conversions we've been doing as well as a new version of the conversions that we'll run into in British and Metric 1.1. So for some of the problems on here, we're going to have metric to metric problems. Some will be British to British, and some will be British to metric or metric to British conversions. A version that is metric to metric is like problem A. And according to this, we have 7.89 liters and we want to go to milliliters. So we just copy the digits, 7, 8, 9, and open circle where the decimal point was. If we take a look up here to get from liters to milliliters, we have 1, 2, 3 legal moves to the right. So we move our decimal point 1, 2, 3 moves to the right. We put our new decimal point here, an empty cradle gets the 0, and we put our new units of milliliters. So this says that 7.89 liters is exactly the same capacity or amount of liquid as 7,890 milliliters. For an example of British to British units, we can look at the problem right below it. Letter C. We have 2,000 ounces into pounds. In this case, we need to make a plan and a skeleton. Anytime there's British to British, you have to make this. This happens to be a one-step problem. So we can just go ahead and make our plan from ounces to pounds. We copy our original value in units, 200 ounces over 1. We build the skeleton just with units. To get rid of ounces, we put them in the bottom. To go to pounds, we put them in the top. We know that there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. We pop that into the calculator. We say 200, because 16 is on the bottom, we'll divide that by 16 equals 12.5 ounces canceled out, so that leaves us with pounds. So 12.5 pounds, and there is a decimal point here, is the same amount of weight as 200 ounces. But the new kind of conversions for us on this, if you look at the bottom of the set of equivalents, we have this new one on here that says 2.54 centimeters equals 1 inch. Now, when we want to look at problems that have one of these, 2.54 centimeters equals an inch, let's take a consideration if we were given a problem. We've been dealing with meter sticks during class, so we know that there's 100 centimeters in a meter. So 100 centimeters, and let's say how many inches would that be? Now, because this has British and metric, we have to build that full skeleton. Because of that equivalent that we just looked at, that 2.54 centimeters is an inch, we can make that a one-step process. So centimeters to inches can be solved with just centimeters to inches. We write the original value, 100 centimeters, divided by, over 1, and we set up our skeleton. We want to get rid of centimeters and go to inches. According to our equivalent, there are 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. So we type that into the calculator, 100, because 2.54 is on the bottom. We divide by 2.54, and that comes up to 39.37 inches. One more example. What if we wanted to go from British to metric? So from British to metric, what if we had something that was, say, a football field? Let's say we had 100 yards, and we wanted to know how many meters that is. Well, to do this, it's a little more involved, because to get from yards to meters, we'll have to get from yards down to inches first. So to do that, we'll have to go from yards to feet to inches, and then use that new equivalent of 2.54 centimeters as an inch, and then we can go from inches to centimeters, and from centimeters to decimeters to meters. So with that said, we'll go ahead and write our original value, 100 yards over 1, and we're going to have to set up our skeleton. Count how many fractions we're going to need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fraction lines. You can see that's way more involved. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fraction lines. Hopefully we got them all in there. And we want to get rid of yards and go to feet. We want to get rid of feet and go to inches. This is where we go from inches to centimeters, so put inches on the bottom and centimeters on top. Get rid of centimeters, go to decimeters, and get rid of decimeters, and go to meters. Now we fill in our equivalents, look up top. Looking up top at the equivalents, we can see that there's 3 feet in 1 yard. There are 12 inches in a foot. 1 inch is the same distance as 2.54 centimeters. Now we have to be careful here. Are there 10 centimeters in a decimeter or 10 decimeters in a centimeter? You gotta look carefully. There are 10 centimeters in 1 decimeter. There are 10 decimeters in 1 meter. Now notice that unlike previous problems, we have some values that are on the top of the fractions and other ones that are on the bottom. So we have to follow this going along. Anything on the top we multiply, anything on the bottom we divide. So we start with 100, we times 3, times 12, times 2.54, but then we have to divide by 10 and divide by 10 again, and we get an answer of 91.44. And check out the units. Yards canceled out, feet canceled out, inches canceled out, centimeters canceled out, decimeters canceled out, and we get a final answer of meters. So that means a 100-yard long football field, that'd be from the beginning of one end zone to the end of the end zone. The actual playing field itself is not only 100 yards long, but it's also 91.44 meters. I hope that helps.